There is a moment, a memory when the world feels unreal and the crowd cheers. The pain disappears. All you can feel and hear is the sound of your own breath and your heartbeat in rhythm. This isn't just a sport. It isn't just fitness. It's freedom. It's the passion. It's a raw pursuit of achieving greatness. From first-time shakes on the pavement to the brutal grind of endless miles, to the late-night runs when the world is asleep. This is the story of running, of passion, of pain, of triumph. Welcome to DP Running Journals podcast, where every stride tells a story.
A new podcast series by a runner for runners. Welcome to DP Running Journals.
I'm Dave, the voice behind this podcast, and in this series, we go behind the finish line, beyond the training, to explore inspirational stories of everyday people where running has changed their lives and define what it means to run. In this first episode of this brand new podcast series, you will hear the story of my running journey, from great achievements to traumatic losses. You will hear how my running journey started and how it has changed my life. Welcome to DP Running Journals, Episode 1, The Voice Behind the Podcast. Running has always been part of me. From a very young age, I always thought about being a runner when I became older. I have always been of a competitive nature since I can remember. From a young age, athletics and road running had always interested me. I remember when I was younger and owning my first running shoes and how amazing it felt to go on my first run. This led to my passion for running to grow. My energy was raw. From that moment on, I knew that I wanted to have running as a big part of my life. As I grew into a teenager, running started to become a big part. As I studied for my GCSEs, running gave me a sense of self-reflection, a place away from the everyday stress of revision. Though I was very competitive, I ran for myself. I didn't join a team, I ran to show myself that I can achieve anything. My first competitive race will always be a core memory in my running journey, and I always will remember it. Back in 2015, when I was nearly 19 years old, I decided I wanted to do a half marathon. A half marathon that my family completed when they were younger. A half marathon that is known as one of the most daunting half marathons in the UK, and that is the Potters Half Marathon in Stoke-on-Trent. I didn't want to aim for a target time or position. I wanted to run it for myself and my family. The Potters Half Marathon that I did in 2015 will always be remembered. This was my very first competitive race. I will always remember when my legs went on me on the 9th mile, but I pushed through the pain and finished with a time of 1 hour, 51 minutes and 59 seconds. This cemented my passion for running, and I decided to join a local running club where I competed in numerous 5k and 10k races. In 2019, I decided to take the leap from racing on the road to racing on the track. Runners will know that running on a track takes a different type of skill. I quickly realised that I could use my ability of burst of energy on the sprint distances, 100 and 200 metres. I joined a local athletic club who brought together people of different and diverse backgrounds for their love of running. The head coach, a man called Harry, a legend who led the team for 30 years, believed I had a gift of a sprinter. Within weeks, Harry saw potential in me, enough to get me geared up for a low-level regional competition which was coming up in a month's time, and he was entering me in the 100 and 200 metres as well as the 4x100 men's relay. and this was going to be held at the iconic Alexander Stadium in Birmingham. A month soon came by and I quickly came face to face with the iconic track of Alexander Stadium. It felt like years was going by waiting for my division final of both my 100 and 200 metre races. At 10 minutes to go, I shut myself on the crowd and got into my focus zone. Then it came to get into lane and time stood still. The crowd in attendance went quiet and the starting pistol went off. In a flash, adrenaline ran through my body and I felt time could stand still again. It wasn't until I crossed that line when realism kicked in, when my mind realised that I had just become a 100 metre champion at regional level. Nothing will beat that feeling of stepping on the top step of the podium. In front of my family and an energetic crowd, I had just become a regional champion. I then went on to win gold in 200 metres and bronze in the 4x100 men's relay. That same year, I achieved the same result at the low-level county championship. 2019 will always be the year I remember being a county and regional champion. But what came after, I never anticipated. People would think that having won medals at both regional and county competitions, I would be on the road to success, but life had a different story to tell. I started to put pressure on myself. I started to become my worst enemy. I started to chase my time over and over again to the point I started to make myself ill. I started to become my own demon, fighting against myself. I had to make a decision that I would never wanted to make. The decision of stepping away from running and competing. In July 2019, I took that decision and to retire from running and to concentrate on my health. As you could imagine, this affected me as I loved running. It was my passion. But sometimes you have to put your health first. In December 2020, my life turned upside down. I was a victim of an unprovoked attack, which ended with me having memory loss and a stab wound in my back. As you could imagine, this destroyed my life. At a time when I wanted to get back into running, it was just another setback. Due to COVID-19, it took CPS 2 years to make a decision, which ended in my attackers getting a slap on the wrist. But that wasn't just my only setback. While we had a really bad winter, I decided to do a spin cycle class at my local gym. I had already started back running, and this was to get me back ready to compete, or so I thought. At the spin cycle class, I was pushed to my absolute limit and my legs got destroyed. After a few days of being in pain, I staggered myself up to the hospital. After numerous tests, I was diagnosed with exercise-induced rhabdomyolysis, and consultants told me to never run again. While I was in hospital, my mum started to become poorly, and fast forward 4 months later, we found that she was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Doctors told me that I would have 6 months left with my mum. Just 8 weeks later, my mum passed away from cancer. My heart broke in two. I lost my mum on the 1st of July 2022. Before my mum's passing, she made me promise that I would get back into running. It's took me over 2 years to get back into it. In July 2024, I decided to make my return to competitive racing in memory of my mum. There was only one race that I could do to make my return, and that was the Great Birmingham Run. Not only was this 13.1 mile race my mum's hometown half marathon, but it was the one race that my mum always wanted me to do. So at that point, I spoke to my hospital consultants to see if I could run again, and they gave me the green light. On the 4th of July 2024, I signed up for the 2025 edition of the Great Birmingham Run, and my training began. Race day came quicker than expected, and I soon found myself warming up on the streets of Birmingham. On the 4th of May 2025, I laced up my shoes once again and conquered the roads in memory of my mum. I finished in front of an amazing atmosphere, and as I crossed that line, I looked up to the sky and said, "Mum, this is for you." I finished in a time of 1 hour, 46 minutes and 39 seconds. Over the course of the last year and a half, I have ran over 440 kilometres, consisting of at least 85 recorded runs, and I am not stopping there. This is only the beginning. Today starts a new era. DP Running Journals podcast is born, and this will tell the story of how running has changed individuals' lives. In every episode, I'll be joined by people whose lives have been changed by running and fitness. If you have a story to tell about how running has changed your life, I want to hear from you. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Just search DP Running Journals. In the next episode, I'll be chatting to a personal trainer who in the last year has set up his own business, and he will be talking to me about his journey. Thank you for all your continued support, and remember, next time you go out running, every stride tells a story.